2445, what we're trying to do, what I'm trying to do for agricultural reasons in Tennessee is to put industrialized hemp.
Motion and second on the bill.
Thank you. To put industrialized hemp into the right to farm portion of our TCA. And with your permission, Mr. Chairman, I'd be glad to go through. It's a 3-page bill, just kind of outline exactly what the bill does so we can go on record, or I'll just take questions, whatever you'd like for me to do.
I think a very short explanation rather than going into long detail would be fine. If the committee is satisfied with that, we won't go into a full 3-page detail.
Okay.
Representative Faison, you're recognized to continue.
Committee, long story short, we are separating in the cannabis plant marijuana from industrialized hemp. There's a section in our code 4326-102, and that's called the right to farm in our section. And we are putting industrialized hemp inside of that and giving that as a tool in our farmers to be able to have something else they can grow. While we're doing that, we're making sure that we don't have problems because there is some similarities of marijuana in some of the looks, and it's part of the cannabis plant. So we are giving a great amount of responsibility to the Department of Ag to promulgate rules for this. And they will be the ones who permit, license, and take care of all of that. The farmers will go through them right now till we can get our feet off the ground and understand what we're doing and get a market built here in Tennessee. It will be automatically assumed, according to this bill, if you have not gone through the Department of Ag and you have something that would appear like marijuana or hemp, and you say it's hemp, if you don't have certified seeds, you're automatically assumed under this bill that you're carrying marijuana. We want to make sure that people are doing this correctly, that we won't have any problems, because there is some similarities in the look. There is no similarities at all in the plant. It's a great, vast difference in the plant. So we're doing that, giving the Department of Ag the ability to come on your farm, make sure you're growing the correct thing, and get the seeds through them that will be completely certified seeds. And we put in the code the scientific makeup of what industrial hemp is. So we've clarified it. There's going to be no misunderstanding if you are growing marijuana or if you're growing hemp. We'll know completely what's going on. And let's see. Put a safety note. You will be under the criminal code if you don't have a license to grow it. And we'll start this in July of 2014. And I think it's a wonderful thing for our farmers. I sent y'all some hemp products around. I wanted to tell you before you, in 1914.
We do have a question.
Okay.
Representative Travis, you're recognized.
Hello, Representative.
Good afternoon.
Do you have any idea how the license and the permission to grow hemp on a farm is going to lay out? Is it going to be a draw, a lottery? Do you know how that's going to?
Representative Travis, that's a wonderful question, and I have been working with the Department of Ag, and they have not done the promulgating of rules yet. I have spoken with the Commissioner Johnson, and I want to make it that anybody in Tennessee has the chance, if they go do it correctly, and not limit it to a huge producer or not limit it to just, I want anybody in Tennessee who is a true farmer, has the ability to farm, let them go to the Department of Ag and be able to do this. We don't want to limit it. And Commissioner Johnson, he agreed with me and concurred that we want to make sure this is wide open. When you asked that, that also brought me another question. We're also, right now, presently, it's illegal for our colleges to use industrialized hemp for research, and we're putting in the code that it is okay for our colleges, and which you will find some of your local colleges are very interested in this, especially since the federal government has released some federal regulations. They want to do that. So we're putting that in the bill. Thank you for that. Another question.
And then I've also heard a number, and it was staggering how much revenue this would bring to the state of Tennessee. Do you have that number?
Mr. Travis, we don't know exactly. If the market comes, there will be a good source of revenue. From my research, they can produce paper, they can produce fibers, they can produce plastics, resins. There's an unbelievable amount of stuff that can come from the hemp product. And I brought a picture of a 1914 $10 bill. And if you want to see it, I'll show it to you afterwards for a quarter. On the back of this $10 bill, you know what they're doing? They're farming hemp. And incidentally, the Federal Reserve made this $10 bill out of hemp paper. Yes, sir.
Representative Gilmore, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I wanted to ask, as it exists today, without your legislation, what the status of hemp is. Is it, if people are growing it now, is it illegal?
In Tennessee, Ms. Gilmore, it is considered under cannabis plant, and it is completely illegal to have the seeds for growing or do any research with it. Right now in the state of Tennessee, according to our laws, it's illegal to do anything with the hemp
Okay.
plant. Yes, ma'am.
And if the legislation is successful, then anyone can do it, but it has to be permitted by the Department of Agriculture. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Chairman Halford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I probably know more about hemp at this point in time than I've ever dreamed I'd know in my life, you know, ever since this has been here. But I do have just a couple of questions out of curiosity. What if I'm a farmer and I've got 5 acres of it and it's ready to be harvested, and I've got it harvested and I've got it in the barn, what do I do with it then? Where do I have to go to get it processed? I saw these little packets that you gave us a while ago. They were all marked "Made in Canada." So what is availability of that in our area?
Thank you, Chairman Hofford. It's a very good question. Partial of what we're trying to do is we're building a foundation. The market is not established yet. There is a man that brought that. He's from Tennessee. He owns a farm in Canada, and he's growing it in Canada currently. He came to see me yesterday and was very excited at the possibility of buying local hemp grown right here in Tennessee. Well, we have to set the correct foundation first. I believe firmly if in the next 3 or 4 years, as people realize, companies realize, hey, there's hemp being grown and we can use this. And I'll give you an example of what happened in our local state, Kentucky. They passed the ability to grow industrialized hemp. Toyota called the Commissioner of Agriculture in Kentucky and said, listen, we're interested in using the hemp product in our seatbelts and our fabrics and different things in our cars. So that's just one thing that happened there. Right now, if somebody grew 5 acres of hemp, I don't know if it would do them any good in Tennessee. But what I'm trying to do is build a foundation that eventually, in the next couple of years, 5 acres will bring you some money.
So is there specialized equipment to harvest your crop or to plant your crop? Or can we use a lot of the equipment that we currently use to plant soybeans and wheat?
Yes, sir. Sure can. It would be a lot like harvesting sugar cane from what I've looked at, studied.
Okay, I had another question, but it's left me right here. So
I'll be around for any questions
okay.
you want.
Thank you.
Representative Travis, you're recognized again.
One more thing, and I promise it's the last thing. To my understanding, if we have hemp grown in this room and we have marijuana grown in the lobby, the marijuana cannot make marijuana because the hemp will
Thank you, Representative Travis. Let me explain that. We have a male species of the cannabis plant and a female species of the cannabis plant. Industrialized hemp is the male species of the cannabis plant. And because of cross-pollination and it being the dominant species, if marijuana or pot, for the slang term, is growing anywhere near the industrialized hemp, because industrialized hemp is the male species, it will overtake it, and because of cross-pollination, it will not produce enough THC. It's still the marijuana plant, but it won't produce the THC that a person who would seek to smoke it to get high would be able to get high from.
Any more questions? Seeing no objection to the question, or seeing no more questions, if there is no objection to the question, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of House Bill 2445 say aye. All those opposed, chair says no. You pass.
Thank you. God bless you all.